Welcome to the Doctrine of Happiness. I am Natasha on a global journey to uncover what it really means to live in happiness, empowerment, and authenticity across all areas of life, both in business and private moments. From vibrant cities to remote sanctuary, I'm meeting people from diverse backgrounds to explore how culture, beliefs, spirituality, gender diversity, and even sexuality shape their understanding of fulfillment and happiness. Together, we dive into the thought form and values that drive their choices, sharing stories and challenge, inspire, and uplift. With the help of a groundbreaking algorithm, we will relieve not only the happiness people are aware of, but also the hidden pieces in their blind spot. This journey goes beyond the surface to reveal the truth that connects us all. Join me as we redefine happiness, fulfillment across cultures and lives. Hello.
Hi.
And welcome to
Thank you.
I don't remember the hotel's name.
Temple Himalaya.
That was So we are in Nepal at the lakeside in Pokhara and have a very, very precious guest here. Would you present yourself?
Hi, I'm Aora Nature.
And just a little bit about your background.
So I am from Vietnam originally, and I have been living in Bali for the last 11 years. And I do travel a lot. And I'm a writer, a published author. This is a book that I published a while ago. It's called Songs of the Rose, Mystical Medicinal Poetry of the Feminine Heart. And I'm an intuitive writing coach and book doula for New Earth creators and feminine leaders. I just love helping people unlock their soul's voice and liberate their soul's expressions into written works of art and creative legacy and books that uplift humanity.
Oh, wow. That sounds very nice.
Thank you.
So you have a background from Vietnam and you're living in Bali. How long have you been there?
11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
So if we try to connect the happiness perspective from when you're the place you are coming from, Vietnam, the culture, do you know the birthplace, your parents' place, and the travel, your soul travel, your personal travel, your journey through the whole way. What's the story? Because I know a little bit, you told me that you were in Bali, you came back and then you really needed a change and you just did it. It was very inspiring.
Yeah. I feel like this topic of happiness, it's so interesting because for me, happiness is a deeply personal topic. Like what I find fulfilling and happy and joyful for my soul, for myself personally, may not necessarily be what my society or my parents or my family would agree with. I think Vietnamese and Balinese culture are quite similar in the sense that the collective needs are prioritized over the individual needs. So, and also the stability, the predictability of someone's life is considered happiness. So, for example, my parents are still kind of freaking out that I don't have a stable 9-to-5 job. And that I'm just traveling according to my whims and fancy. And so for them, happiness means, you work with a company for a long time and you have the stability and the security and you have a home and, a mortgage and all that kind of stuff. But they actually said to me, well, you do whatever you want to do as long as you're happy. Yeah, that's what they said to me. Okay, we're a little concerned about you, but at the end of the day, if you are happy with the lifestyle that you have chosen, if it makes your heart sing, then do it. So even though we may not agree with each other on like what happiness would look like, but they give me the freedom to do whatever I want to do. Yeah. So with that, I'm grateful.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
So did you find happiness, changing the country and the culture and the environment around you, people? So how was it for you?
So for me, actually, it's been a long journey, but I realized that I feel happiest when I allow myself to follow my curiosity, when I allow myself to follow the nudges and the pulling and the calling of what I call my soul attraction.
Yeah.
Like there is a soul calling. It's not just mental. It's not just intellectual. It's not even like emotional. It's much deeper than that. So there is a calling of the soul. And when I allow myself to follow that, like you hear the sound of the drums in the distance and you want to walk toward it. You hear the sound of music playing. You hear these sounds playing and there's a resonance.
And you just can't, not hear them, unhearing them.
Exactly.
It's just, you just have to go after, and follow the noise or the calling or
exactly
the purpose. We call it different thing, from different perspective. But when first you have heard the calling, the drums, that's it. Yeah. You can stop hearing them, but then they get louder and louder and louder somehow. And it takes a lot of courage to disconnect from the consciousness, the collective consciousness you are part of.
Yeah.
And say, okay, I'm going after the consciousness that it's really calling for me or because it is like a different energy. So when I talk about consciousness, I talk about the energy and you talked about something deeper.
Yeah.
It's like your soul is calling you in for something that you cannot define.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you do with your writing and with the new concept you are trying to establish, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
Can you tell a little bit about that?
So back to what you were saying, I think the first step is like you need to really drop deeper into yourself and have a sense for and have this attunement and this sense of familiarity with what your soul essence is. Because once you know what your soul essence what it feels like, what the resonance of that is, then you will be able to know, this experience resonates with me. This calling has a resonance with my essence. So then you can allow yourself to be pulled toward that. But if you don't know like who you are, then it's hard to know, does this resonate with me or that resonate with me? So I feel like giving ourselves the spaciousness of time and space to experiment and to explore with that is really beneficial for us to like really get to map out the whole territory, so to speak, of our own soul. And so with that, this brings me to the creative project that I am birthing into the world. So I am creating a creativity and writing school where we can use writing as an ally and as a tool for us to really get to know and get acquainted with these deeper currents of our souls, to be able to get really intimate with ourselves and know ourselves on levels that we didn't even know were there. And once we get to know ourselves on that level, then we get to like have these expressions of our souls blossom and unfurled and unfold in a way that feels alive and enlivening.
Enlivening, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you going to use that word?
Well, I am not sure how I'm going to like incorporate or integrate it, but that's definitely like one of the energetic signature of the experience that I want people to have through the writing school.
Maybe you should tell people about that. I really love that word, and it's just so powerful somehow. And
yeah,
so we include the listener and our public so they know what we are talking about.
Yeah, you mean the word enlivening? Yeah, so for me, enlivening means to bring something to life, to infuse life force energy, aliveness, and vitality and vibrancy into it. And for me, that is my experience. Like when I write, it's like I get to reclaim the parts of myself that have been dormant, have been like sleeping, or parts of myself that I didn't even know existed. And so when I have access to more parts of me, I feel more whole. I feel more alive. I feel more confident. I feel more enlivened, right? So it's like you get to have more of you. You get to have access to more of you and play with more of you.
I get so happy when I hear that word. So I really love it. I hope you really use it a lot in everything you're going to do.
Thank you. Yeah.
So now we are talking about happiness.
Yeah.
And it's different perspective for people what happiness is. Some people, they mean that, it's just temporary. Some people, they think it's from within. Some people think at something that there is many different kind of perspective and understanding and the way of comprehending what happiness is.
Yeah.
So for me, happiness is a lot of things, but the place that we can create and growth, it doesn't matter. It's a company or it's a person. That's the place for me that the happiness, it can be cultivated. So one thing is how to create and manifest happiness. The other thing is how we maintain the happiness. Because if you have it within or in the outer world, it's very important to maintain it. And when you maintaining it, you have to know how to manage it. And when you manage it, you have to remember just being it. So that's like 4 different level of being happy. And in that process, we meet a lot of resistance, rejections, ups and downs. And it can be the family, it can be customer, it can be life happens. And maybe we lose a family member, maybe, I don't know, lose a house, or we've been rejected by a concept we are trying to launch, or it can be the partner. Or so how do you think we can use happiness as a tool to manage, maintain, create, and be happy during the hard time?
Wow. Thank you for sharing, actually, like the complexity of the model that you are working with, which is like so encompassing and very, very comprehensive. For me, I think I can only speak for myself. It's much simpler than that. For me, happiness is like, first of all, getting to know, like what I said, what is my energetic essence? What makes me feel home? And tuning in, like actually taking the responsibility to be attuned to what is in resonance with my truth. And then having the courage to follow my heart.
That was the following heart. Part.
Like just go for my heart. Like go for whatever my heart desires. Because even if I don't get it the first time, for example, let's say if I face rejection or resistance, failure, the calling it's still there.
Yeah.
And I feel like part of the happiness and the fulfillment that I receive comes from giving myself the gift of following my heart.
So the following your heart is for you how you maintain the happiness and you keep creating what makes you and other people happy. Because when you write, you write in it's the language of your soul, trying to make other people happy somehow and teach them something. You have a message by your writing.
Yeah. Well, I don't write to make other people happy. So when I write, it's actually for myself first
Makes
and
you happy.
foremost. It makes me happy. It's something that I do for my own joy and pleasure. And then there is a ripple effect of that.
Yeah.
But I like the most genuine, sincere, and soulful writing that I have done. It's always for me.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
Yeah. And it is those things that I write for myself that is actually most impactful for others. Yeah.
Would you like to read a passage? Just the one part that comes up.
Yeah. Actually, I'll read this, which is like at the end of the book.
Yeah.
And I have read this many times and I always love it. Writing is a condensation, a translation, an interpretation of the raw energy that moves through you in the moment. The power is not in the words, but in that raw energy and in having it come out, be channeled, be expressed so that it lives you.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's very deep and nice.
Yeah.
So what was the message for you behind that when you wrote it?
Message is be the vessel and be the channel for this higher intelligence to come through. So it can come through actually through writing or creating a meal or doing a podcast or taking a walk up the mountain or dancing or creating a company. So there is this life force energy that wants to be expressed through you and just be the channel and be the instrument for that. And you know that when there is a calling and a tugging and a pulling, there's a soul attraction.
Yeah.
And you just follow that. And when you follow that calling, you open yourself up to become the channel. And when it comes to writing, it's not about the actual words on the page. It's the energy behind
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
My old mentor, she always, tried to tell me it's what is you're telling behind the text.
Yes.
So it's just the same. Yeah, you are saying. That's
yes.
What is behind the energy?
Like I use a metaphor. It's like a finger pointing at the moon. So the words are just the finger, but what I'm pointing at is the moon. So don't get too caught up in the finger and missing out on what I'm truly pointing at. It's like the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and that it's very nice because you allow people to have their own understanding, comprehension of what they like to understand, how they like to perspective.
Yeah.
The way of what you're saying and not what is important for you, but they understand and interpret the energy as it fits them. And that it's really something I really like. And I think that will create happiness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you have the freedom. So for me, happiness is freedom.
Yeah.
The place that when I'm 100% free to think, feel, act as I really, really want, it's like my soul is just totally free as a child, as a woman, when I can use my feminine side and a masculine side and, be balanced in both of them. It's just freedom. And I guess like goosebumps when we're talking about it.
Yeah.
So it's, and you write a lot about the feminine, divine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you express a little bit about what is behind that?
Yeah. So for me, in writing, we need both the masculine principle and the feminine principle. So the feminine principle is this, I call it the muse, is the source of inspiration and ideas and all of like the beautiful things that's just like pouring through you. and wanting to be expressed. The masculine energy is the container to hold it together. It's the structure. It's the framework. So in writing, we need both. And first, we unblock our own channel. So we allow this river, this muse, this feminine energy to flow through. And we also need to create the container to direct the flow of energy into what we want to write about. And writing is such a great practice to master the dance of these two principles.
And I totally agree with you, because I was, writing all my 4 books, the 970 pages that you saw. It was just in my head, in my body, in my soul, and I had been, trying to write it in so many years as like pieces, both in paper and digitally. And the day I finished it, I was like, where's my purpose? I know, I always know my path. I know what I'm going to do, but there was an emptiness. It was not bad. It was not, but it was just, And that's what you're actually saying. It's when you use the, language of writing and you express yourself, then you change something. So what is it you're changing when you write? Because you write beautifully. You wrote a testimonial for me, and yesterday it was like, wow. Wow. She can, you can change the energy when you write.
Yeah, absolutely. Like for me, writing is one of the alchemical tools. Like in alchemy, they transform lead into gold. And that's, the emptiness. I said it's a beautiful thing because I changed something.
Yeah.
But I was not aware, I wasn't conscious. In my awareness, it was like, what happened? What did I change? But I changed something in me.
Yeah.
By finishing the books.
Yes.
So that's the alchemy you talk about. So that's what you want to teach people at your school.
Yeah. Because I often notice that when people want to write a book, or when people write a book, the person who started out writing a book is not the same as the person who finished writing. Right. And you know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you get completed in somehow.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the wholeness with all your parts. It's like you get completed. It's a more physical thing.
Yeah. It's like giving birth to a child.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I call myself a book doula. So you, when you write a book, you're literally pregnant.
Yeah.
You're incubating this being within your field. And a book or any creative project is like a consciousness, a being with its own consciousness, with its own intelligence and its own purpose. And it wants to use you as a vessel to exist on the physical plane. Mm-hmm. And once you've released it into the world, it's like a giving birth. Like, okay, you're out now. So of course you feel like, okay, now it's like empty.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
it's static.
Yeah.
But then the child is out there. We have to take care of it.
Yes.
That's a whole new process
of
us, Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
So if you go back to the feminine and the masculine, because it's a very big topic. When we touch that part, we touch the gender diversity. We touch sexuality. That's a lot of topics, under the masculinity and the femininity. So your thought of those two?
Well, I think it's a beautiful and delicious dance. The masculine and the feminine is such a beautiful, delicious dance that we get to play with. And I do play with that a lot in creativity. So like there are always like two forces in balance with each other. It's like expression versus containment. It's like free flowing versus structure. And also in a relationship that you have with the people in your life, like let's say with your romantic partner. And we get to be all of these. It's just so much fun. And we get to tune into like, do I want to have more masculine energy with this creative project at the moment? Does it need more containment? Does it need more boundaries? Does it need more of a clarity, focus, direction?
Or does it need more of like a free flowing and just letting the ideas come and pour onto the page? So I love the ability to just attune and find out which side do I want to play on, do I want to dance with in this moment.
But then we are talking about that everyone has the both sides,
Yeah.
you know, and I believe in that, you believe in that, but it depends on which country you are in and what culture you are, you know, going into. There's a different perception and perspective and understanding of it.
Yeah.
So when you tell a guy that use your feminine side, if you tell it, I don't know, example, nationality, then from Eastern countries, then they will look at you like you're a crazy, person, you know? You know that a lot, you know, because you,
of course,
where you're from.
Yeah. I think in like, you know, in the East, there's the gender roles are still very like boxed in, like it's like really rigid. Like this is what men do. This is what women do. We don't mix things up together. Like you don't do that. And I think if you hear about some of the things that, some of the practices that people still have, let's say in like India or Bali or even Vietnam, you would be like shocked because like it's like so far behind compared to where you are with like the gender equality that you have, you know, in Denmark or in Europe or in the West. It's just like you can't even fathom like how is that even possible?
Give me an example.
Yeah,
one of the worst one. You know what? One of the
like for example, like in the Hindu religion, the women are not allowed to enter a temple or take part in chanting or religious practices during her menstruation because women are considered dirty during the menstruation. They're considered not pure. So they are not allowed to enter those places that are meant only for men. And I just heard about this from the yoga teacher at the center. Just like 2 days ago, my jaw just like dropped. No, because I live in Bali for 11 years. So I know that before you enter a temple, they will ask you, if you're a woman, are you on your cycle? Because if you are, they will not let you enter the temple. So that's a fact.
Not even in Bali.
In Bali, the same. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That this is Hinduism. Like if you're menstruating, you're not allowed to enter the temple. So I already know that. But then 2 days ago, our yoga teacher from India at the yoga center where we met, he even said, like, there are certain mantras that as a woman, you are not allowed to chant. Like there are certain Vedic mantras because he said that for women, there are certain days of the month where the women are impure because of their menstruation. So they are not allowed to be chanting those mantras. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, this is just taking things to the next level.
But the funny thing is, what I'm thinking, I'm listening and I'm thinking at the same time, it's like the most holy grail of the human existing is the woman's menstruation, because otherwise we can't have children and we can, you know, and it's like, it should be celebrated. It should be honored. It should be like, okay, you're menstruating. That means you actually, you know, we are in the happiness part. You can, create growth.
Yes.
And you can make another person happy, but by having his seed and create a little person inside you.
Yeah.
And that be depressed like a shameful thing.
Yeah.
And I would, everything in my body start boiling. And like, where are we in 2024? You know, AI taking care of so many things. I use AI and I'm thinking we are still in that circle of evil thinking about energy. it's about the energy that is destructive. Okay, you have your menstruation. You are dirty. We depress you. We reject you. We have a resistance against you.
Yeah.
You go out. It's just bullying another gender.
Yeah.
I know that from Iran, Persian as well. That is not only in Bali but I don't get it, because if the woman, they don't get this menstruation, then the human being would be in trouble.
Well, actually, there is another explanation to this. So I guess, like during our menstruation as women, we are most intuitive and we are most in touch with the divine, and we get a lot of insight. And also our bodies are physically weakest and we need a lot of rest and relaxation and just like be with ourselves. So there's an explanation that, okay, so that's why as women, we are exempted from all of the religious activities during that time. So we can just like stay at home and stay in bed and stay in our like little red tent, so to speak, and just be in introspection and reflection. So I think it is good that we don't need to engage with the outside world during those days. We can just rest and be with ourselves. But there is definitely, it's different from this energy of like rejection, like, okay, you're not pure. So like, just stay away from us. But during those days.
It should be a choice.
Exactly. I agree.
It should be
a choice.
Because not every woman is so vulnerable.
Yeah.
And some, they never, I have my menstruation. I don't know. Not everybody is going up and down.
Yeah.
So it should be a choice.
I agree.
It's not okay to bully each other. Again, to the gender diversity and equality. Yeah. I think we should move another place. And then we touched the topic of sexuality. It's now you have been through many countries.
Yeah.
So, and we talked about Japan. We talked about the way we express and the feelings. And you told me a story about you were very sad and they were just
crying. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I don't get involved with the emotional thing.
Yeah. Actually, what I really like, so let me just backtrack. When I grew up in Vietnam, I grew up with like 8 other family members. So we have like a 4th generation living together in one house. And it was like maybe 30 something square meters. So it's like super cramped and everyone was just like on top of each other. And in Bali, as well as in Vietnam, the concept of personal space is almost non-existent. Like there's just no privacy and no personal space. And it's all about the collective, and it's much less about individuals than it is about the collective. So when I went to Japan, I was like, oh, this is amazing, because I get to have all of this space and all this privacy to myself. Like when I'm on the train, when I'm on the bus, everyone is so quiet and silent. Nobody was like bothering me with the noise from their phones or anything. And I feel like the Japanese have a really clear threshold between what is private and what is public. Even in their homes, they have this little areas. And when you enter a home, there's this area where the guests would take off their shoes and take off their socks and put on the slippers, and then you enter the house. So that area kind of like signifies this is a threshold where the public ends and the private space of the home begins. So I love that they have this kind of like clear separation between what is public and what is private, and then they don't cross it. So I feel like in the moment when I was sitting on the train and I was just having my tears running down and crying, they just respect that I'm in my own private space and they don't want to cross that threshold. And I find that actually, I felt so free. Like, okay, I just do whatever I do. Nobody is gonna like bother me. I don't have to explain myself to anyone. And but for that very same reason, when I travel alone in Japan and I have like a big heavy suitcase and there's no escalator or no elevator and only stairs, I also find it a bit more challenging to actually reach out to someone and ask for help, because I feel like, everyone is just in their private space. And for me to go and like ask for help is like, now I'm like penetrating their little bubble to ask for help. And for the same reason, in Japan, I realized if they see you struggling, unless you ask for help, they will not come and help because they are basically interfering with your free will. That is their thinking. Like everyone has a free will. And if this person is not asking for help, I'm not going to embarrass them by, giving them the message that they are not capable by offering help. So as the person needing help, I need to actually say it and request for it.
So what do you think happiness is for people in Japan?
Do you mean happiness for them? I have no idea. I can't speak for
No, but what do you think? What is your expression? What is your,
Well, I feel like Japanese people are very, very deeply connected to nature.
Yeah.
And they have such a beautiful attunement to the qualities of beauty in nature, beauty in daily life, the attention to details. And they receive a lot of happiness and fulfillment from just paying attention to these little, like exquisite little details.
Oh, wow.
In
that
nature,
nice.
In arts, in daily life. Yeah. And that's what I love.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So we have many different way into happiness in the culture.
Yeah.
It's gender diversity, understanding of that. And we have the way, the spirituality, what you believe, so your beliefs in general. There's the consciousness about, behind what is happiness. So if you will redefine what is happiness from all that, what would it be for you?
Oh my God, what a difficult question.
I'm sorry, you're not here to get the easy ones.
Well, for me, like at the end of the day, like leaving all concepts behind, happiness. Yeah, I remember that one moment when I woke up, maybe 2 weeks ago, when I looked out of the window and I saw the lake and the mountains and a little mist covering the mountain, and the lake was so calm, so still. And I was feeling the exact same resonance in my heart, in my being. This just like sweet, gentle, still, peaceful feeling.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, I am so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel at home within myself. I feel at peace. I feel calm. I feel like I'm in touch with my true essence. I could feel it so palpably. And for me, that is happiness.
That is happiness.
Yeah.
So it's so you can actually just take everything away and just cut it down to the core energy of happiness. For you, it's peace.
Yeah, it is.
And freedom.
Yeah.
To be.
Yes.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
So do you have anything else to add before we say goodbye? I think that was really beautiful and very enlightening. And I'm very happy that you say yes to share your perspective of happiness.
Yeah.
Do you have the last message for the people out there from your perspective?
Well, have a practice, whatever that practice is, that helps connect you to your true essence. So for me, it is writing. And for others, I don't know, but it is worth it. It's worth exploring what it is that you can do on a daily basis, on a regular basis, to help you connect deeply with your true essence. Because when you are connected with your true essence, then it's much easier for you to receive the calling, to hear the nudges, and to follow your heart. Yeah.
So we wrap it up with the last message from here. It's follow your heart. That works from Aora Nature. And if you want the book, I'll put the information on the screen. And
I can also share with you my website, and people can go there and have a look if they want.
Fantastic. Yeah. It's very nice. I'm going to put it on the screen at the video cast, but the podcast listener, they have to find it.
Yeah. Okay.
Or maybe you can share it as well, so they can listen to it.
Yeah, it's my website is soulofthesun.art.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Of course. So thank you very much for listening to us, and follow here. It will help us. And I'm traveling. I'm finding very exciting people, very interesting people, and trying to figure out what is happiness from different culture, from different perspective, different businesses. Thank you very much. Namaste from Nepal. Thank you for joining me on this journey to explore happiness and fulfillment in all its forms, in business and in personal life. I hope these stories and insights inspire you to view your own path with fresh perspectives. Stay curious, keep pushing forward, and come back next time as we dive even deeper into what it means to live fully and consciously. Until then, embrace what empowers you. Pursue what fulfills you. And remember, true happiness starts within.